Hey there, it's Timmy, and welcome to Timmy Watt and What Have You. And today's episode is all about our trip to Disneyland. So we just got back into town a couple hours ago. 4 days, one park per day. And the whole purpose of our trip had nothing to do with us. It was more about going and enjoying a first time visit for a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old, my niece and nephew, and to just help them and introduce them into the land, to the world of Disneyland. And wow, I mean, there's so much I could say, but I want to keep it brief. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about Star Wars Galaxy's Edge in a separate video. So look for that maybe next week. But let's get into the trip because we learned a lot, and that's interesting because we've gone to Disneyland a lot, and it was surprising that we learned what we did learn. So let's backtrack just a bit. In our last video, or one of our last videos, we talked about Wyatt and my son, and how when he was just 2, maybe 3 years old, he had his first Disneyland experience, and he just had a blast. And he started out riding the Matterhorn, which is fantastic, and which is kind of surprising and shocking for somebody that little to be able to do that and enjoy it. And from that day all the way forward to today, Wyatt has just been a complete pro and just loves Disneyland and loves everything it is, loves the rides and attractions, and loves going with us to make it a family event. And he's just been a solid trooper ever since. And we kind of almost, at least me personally, I can't speak for my wife, but we kind of almost had this expectation that it'd be similar for these two children. And what we discovered is that's not, it wasn't the case. Now, not to say that they didn't have a blast, because we know that they did. But it took some time and it took some effort for them to kind of break in. So the first day, let's just kind of go through this real quick. So the first day, we kind of had an early flight into LAX. We got our rental. We couldn't check into the hotel yet, so we just piled everything into the van. Big 12-passenger van, fantastic thing. You got to do that. That's worth it. Cruised right into and parked at Disneyland and started our adventure in DCA, California Adventure. And, you know, we got to ride all the cool Pixar, Little Mermaid, Soarin', Toy Story Midway Mania, some of those, you know, real, like, small, you know, the new Emotional Whirlwind, they were that. And the carousel and the big Ferris wheel as well. So the kids enjoyed the heck out of Paradise Pier, and it was perfect for them. And Wyatt and I got to go ride a couple times on the Guardians of the Galaxy and, you know, have our thrill. And that was fantastic. So we got a good opportunity, as well as the Incredicoaster. We had a good opportunity to kind of just do everything, including focusing on what the little children would be appropriate for them, what would enjoy them, what they would enjoy. So that first day was great, and they closed the park, I think, at 8 that night. And so we got an early return back to the hotel, slept perfectly well. It was great. We were all tired. Woke up early the next morning to have Magic Morning. I got to ride all the Fantasyland rides in Disneyland. And so Peter Pan, Mr. Toad, Snow White, Pinocchio, all those rides, you know, the Casey Jr., the Storybook Canal, Small World. So they got all the opportunity to ride those cool, classic dark rides, and just get their fill of all that. Alice in Wonderland. Wyatt and I, you know, we got to ride the teacups. That was fun. I posted that on our Facebook. So another good chance. And you know, the rest of that day we got to go and Rachel and Wyatt and I got to ride Space Mountain. We got to ride the Matterhorn. You know, the young children certainly weren't necessarily interested in those rides, but you know, they had fun. They got to check things out and explore and just have a lot of fun on some of those more. They went to Toontown as well, so they had plenty of fun. The third day was when I think things really cracked wide open, and we surprised the family with a character breakfast at the Plaza Inn. And if you've ever been, that place, it's a buffet, so fantastic food, a great variety. And characters just walk around constantly. And I think if I remember right, they had Captain Hook, they had Winnie the Pooh, they had Eeyore, they had one of the fairy godmothers, they had one of the little mice characters from Snow White, or Cinderella, excuse me. And there was some Chip and Dale, I think, were there. So I mean, just a good, and Minnie Mouse. Minnie Mouse. We all started by taking a big picture with Minnie Mouse. But just a cool experience to spend an hour or so eating great food, talking, and then having all these characters interacting with us during our food, during our breakfast, and they were playing and goofing around. Captain Hook even tried to steal my sister-in-law's ring from her hand, and that became kind of a running gag for the rest of the trip for the children to protect their moms or their aunts' rings when they saw a pirate like Captain Jack Sparrow over by Pirates of the Caribbean. So it was great. So that really gave us a good feeling, because that's when the kids really just kind of perked up and started to feel that Disney magic. And that went on. And, you know, from then on, the daughter, she just kept asking to meet more and more characters. I think they saw Mickey at Toontown, and they saw a couple other characters along the way. So that day was fantastic, and they got to spend a fantastic breakfast eating and enjoying all those characters. That was very, very cool. You know, we as adults also got to enjoy, like I said, our rides: Space Mountain, Star Tours, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, Pirates of the Caribbean, and of course we got to finally and thankfully, and I love it so much, explore Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. But like I said, I'll make a separate video for that, because I could go on for that for days. I feel like we just came back from eating out to dinner, and I was just rattling off everything I thought about Galaxy's Edge, chewing his ear off, and it was I said I can go on for hours. So we'll make that a separate video. But you know, and we still kind of felt like the kids had this reluctance about some of the rides, and certainly they didn't always fit on the rides if the ride was too big or too active, or you know, too scary, and that's fine. But they seemed a little more reserved, but it was still just a fun and magical time, and I enjoyed the 4 days we were there. I'm glad we did one park per day, because I could not see adding the complexity as well as spending extra energy going back and forth over the Esplanade to the different parks. I think with our Max Pass, we really took advantage of that really, really well. I think most every day we had kind of a list of what we wanted to do, and as we could, we went ahead and just started planning and booking extra Max Passes as we could, and that just made, again, it took the stress down and took the energy spend down quite a bit, because instead of running over to the kiosk to pull a paper fast pass, you just do it right on your phone, and it's just awesome. So thank you to Disney for making Max Pass a thing. That is just fantastic. So like I said, tons I could talk about with Galaxy's Edge. I'll hold off on that. That'll be in our next week's video, next Monday. Friday's video is about cars, automotive. I don't know exactly yet what we'll be talking about, but I'll make sure to post it on Facebook. Please be sure you follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Over the last few days, I posted a ton of photos of our experience at Disneyland, especially Galaxy's Edge, on our Instagram page. So go find us. I'll put all the links below in the description. Be sure you follow us everywhere, because that's how this whole thing works, if you haven't figured that out yet. All right, so that wraps up this video. If you have any questions or comments, or if you want me to clarify anything, or if you have anything in particular you want to ask about Galaxy's Edge before I make the video for next week, put them in the comments below. I appreciate that. And we'll have a discussion if you have some thoughts. Like the video, thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button if you like what we're doing here, and then hit the notification bell so you can know whenever I post something new on the channel. And then also, please share. Please share. Let your family and friends know about this channel. Tell them there's this weird chatty guy that likes to just talk about Disney and everything, and you think that's cool, and share that. Yeah, Thanks. All right. I'm Timmy. Thanks again for watching. Timmy Wah, what have you. We'll see you Friday. We talk about cars. Bye.